Hi, my name is Keys. Welcome back to my channel. Alright, so today's Procreate speed paint, it's basically just a mixed concept of sci-fi and fantasy. So firstly, to get started, I started with my first layer of sketch, and it's basically just very big loose lines of where I wanted everything to be. So I drew two circles for each of the two faces and just lines to guide me of where I wanted everything to be. I usually start all my drawings like this. Instead of doing one sketch, I usually do something to take up the space and guide me to where everything is gonna be. So afterwards, I do a more concentrated sketch, just showing all my elements and just putting all the character pieces in place, drawing all the features, all the elements the character is supposed to have, and then afterwards I do a much cleaner sketch, which is usually my final sketch, where I'll lay down solid lines and just pretend like it's my final line for everything. So each line has to be very crispy, very pretty, and very nice. Alright, so basically this drawing is for a drawing contest, and when I read the rules I was just really excited, so I wasn't really focused on drawing contests. So all I saw was sci-fi and fantasy, and I submitted 3 drawings for this, but for this drawing I went to mix with both sci-fi and fantasy. And when I think about sci-fi and fantasy, I just think about the first thought that came to my mind was horns, and the second thought was robots. And I love drawing flowers, so of course I added a bunch of flowers to one of my characters. So the idea I was thinking of was basically they're a reflection of each other. So one character is supposed to represent the fantasy side and the other is supposed to represent the sci-fi side. Alright, so after I had my lines down, I basically laid down a layer mask for each element of the character. So I did one for the face, one for the hair, and one for the background. And I basically repeated that for each of my 2 characters. I'm running out of breath because I was talking for so long. Oh my god, my lungs. Alright, so anyways, after I laid down each color, each layer mask, basically so that I can select in bulk. So if I want to select the hair, I can select the hair. If I want to select the face, I can select the face. I then laid down my base colors, and then after I did that, I gave my characters highlights and shadows. Before I actually start blending in and doing my final details, I give each character their highlights and shadows, so basically where I think the light source would be. So I'm heavily referencing my reference picture for the lighting. So when I was doing the lighting for her face, I thought of the reference picture. When I was doing the shadows, I thought of that too. And I'm not gonna lie, when I was making this drawing, I was mostly focused on the fantasy side because I think it's my first real time as an artist drawing a robot, because I'm really scared of sci-fi concepts. When I see 3D art, I think it's really the most amazing thing ever. The way people are able to think in 3D, my brain was crashing when I was trying to think about how her robotic parts were gonna look. So I kind of neglected her throughout the drawing, and while I was trying to figure out in my mind what to do, I was just thinking about what I was gonna do for the fantasy character. And alright, so after I did my base colors, my shadows, my highlights, I made a new layer so I can actually add details to her face. And basically when I was doing the colors for this drawing, because it was a drawing contest, I tried to make some very loose sketches of what I wanted everything to be. So I thought of the concept, the color, the poses, just everything in general, and I thought of complementary colors, which I use a lot in my art. So because the fantasy side was gonna have a lot of pink and purples and warm colors, the sci-fi side was gonna be cool and blue and grays. And so Procreate has this new feature where, not new feature, I'm probably just laying under a rock or living under one, but basically it's where when you pick a color, they'll just do the hard work for you and just pick the complementary colors. So I was like, that's fucking fantastic. Yeah, so I just used that to pick out my colors, and I had to change the colors a little for the robot because her colors were too strong, and she's supposed to be made of steel, so I didn't want her to be wearing like bright green armor. So her colors were definitely much harder, and when I was sketching, I put a lot of different parts on her body, and that kind of came back to haunt me at the end because I had to find a way to put color on all of those. So basically I didn't want her metal to look like one shade of gray or one lame color piece of metal. I wanted her to be like multicolored, so it looked like she was made of different pieces. So my challenge was to balance out each of those colors, and of course I wanted to make her hair look green, like I was thinking of the Matrix, like numbers running through her hair. But I didn't actually do that because I was too tired at the end of the drawing. So I went, after I laid down the colors for the robot, I went back to neglecting her because I want to continue working on the fantasy character. So I did as much details as I could. After the highlights and the shadows, I added another normal layer where I finished adding details and blending and everything for her face. And then after those colors, I finally went back to do the lines. They were so satisfying. The eyelashes took forever, but the hair was extremely satisfying. And I used a multiply layer for my lines because I don't want my lines to be too dark. I want them to blend into the drawing. And I also don't use a very hard brush. I use a brush with a soft end so I can blend in the lines if I need to, especially for parts like the hair where it's supposed to look very silky. So I have to blend in those parts. And the flowers, absolutely my favorite part. I didn't even do any coloring to them. I just added lines and they still look really good. So, and I just really want to have flowers there in those random patterns. That's also something I do in my drawings. And Procreate has a lot of different brushes, so I try to squeeze in as much as I can when making a drawing. So when I'm done, it's like something in my brain is making me just add random stuff. Alright, so after I was done with her, I had to face the robot again, and I wanted to cry. I couldn't. You see, I'm going back to add highlights to her, and I'm still not even working on the robot as much as I should be. So I just went on the overlay layer and I added very shiny highlights, so she had to look very magical. You know what I'm saying? She's fantasy fairy. And the thing that saved me with that drawing was adding a solid black layer and lowering the opacity, and then I erased that layer so it looked like she was shining in the dark, and I was like, ooh. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye. Enjoy the video. Alright guys, here's my Instagram. I have a Twitter now. I'll probably link it in my other videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week with Fan Art Friday. Bye. Have a really nice day. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.